Hey, what's up? I'm Liz, this Blitz DIY, and today is Blitz Bad City, the conclusion. A lot has happened since the first video. The first video I had just made the schematic and sent it off to Fab with Oshpark and was kind of hoping for the best. Unfortunately, the best didn't quite pan out. I did the schematic and the board layout really quickly and really late at night. I might have mentioned that in the first video. And it was all because I really just wanted to get it done. I felt really bad that I was late on Sion's challenge, and I felt like I was wasting time and I just needed to get out there, which is a terrible way to approach PCB design. You need to take your time and really think things through. So I got the boards in, I soldered them up, and I immediately, after looking at my board layout before they came back, was like, I might have messed some stuff up. I couldn't quite tell what the polarity was supposed to be for some of the LEDs. Like, I really was like cringing at how I just really had no idea what I'd done. I'm still kind of new to surface mount soldering, but it was my very first time soldering a surface mount IC, which is challenging, and it was just bad. So basically the first badge that I soldered up, I couldn't tell if I had bridged connections on the 555 or not. Like, there were so many things going wrong. And then on top of it, I was having issues with some of the LEDs in general. Like, I got these kind of cheap LEDs in blue, green, red, and yellow. Red and yellow ones are fine, but the green and blue ones were just acting really weird, and they're still acting really weird, and that's why the badge you see blinking away right now is just rocking some ketchup and mustard LEDs. And maybe someone can enlighten me on what was going on, but I couldn't quite wrap my head around it. Basically, like, I was testing all the LEDs with my multimeter before, and they'd be fine. And then the blue ones in particular, I'd solder them onto the board, and then, like, you can test with the multimeter again once they're on the board. Basically, the moment they were soldered, they wouldn't work anymore. And I actually soldered at a fairly low temperature. I tend to do about 310 Celsius or 320 if I'm feeling feisty, but usually 310. And they just wouldn't work. And so I would desolder them, and the blue ones would just be dead completely. The green ones, after I desoldered them, I could get light through. But then I'd solder them back into the board, and I couldn't, and I even applied a higher voltage to the board to see if maybe I just wasn't supplying enough with the battery I'd chosen, and no dice. So I don't know. So basically, those LEDs, they were king bright, and I'm not going to use them anymore. I'm going to try some other LEDs, see if that works. But that was just one of the issues I ran into on the first board design. And so I soldered up a second one. And same thing, couldn't get to work at all, couldn't get a single thing to light up. And finally I was like, you know what, I'm gonna redo the design from scratch, because I can't tell if it's my terrible soldering or if it's my design. And I'm driving myself crazy doing this. I'm wasting components, I'm wasting time. So I just redid it. One thing just about my kind of learning style and design style in general is I'm a really hands-on learner, and I draw out, as I've shown before, like everything that I design by hand on paper. I just feel a lot more comfortable doing that. And I realized what was really sketching me out in doing this, working with Eagle in general, was that it all felt really disconnected. Like when I was breadboarding, and here's the original breadboard circuit, it felt like very kinetic, very physical, which is how I work and how I understand things in general. So what I decided to do was take my breadboard and actually draw out the schematic in a notebook. And that really helped. Let me get it under the camera here. So it's nothing fancy. and it could definitely be neater. I've got some other notes on here as well. But it just really helped me understand what I was doing. And also what I did was each trace I gave a number or a letter to. And that also really helped me to understand what was going on. And it made me just kind of understand the circuit a lot better as well. And I kind of then became more familiar with what the layout was going to be when I went into Eagle. Like when I was putting these LEDs in, I understood like, okay, these are the twos, and they're going up here and everything. So it really helped. So if you're having trouble understanding what you're doing in Eagle, or you're just feeling really confused, I recommend doing that. You might just be more of a hands-on kind of person. And I'm really into learning styles. I actually was a tutor when I was in school, and I became certified. And one of the things we did, we spent a lot of time just talking about learning styles and how we could like help our fellow students, because we were all undergrads, just learn better, and as a result you become a better learner too. So anyway, so after I did that, let me switch to the schematic view. This is what I had, and you might remember in the first video, my schematic was pretty bad. It was pretty rough, and it was really because it was one of the first times I was really laying out a schematic. I don't have a background in electronics. I've just kind of taught myself as projects have come up. I've never really kind of sat down and been like, all right, this is the theory. So it's been a bit disjointed, to say the least. So I tried to make this one a lot neater. I tried to kind of imitate what I had on paper as well. What's tricky is the footprint I'm using for the LMC 555. It's not doing your kind of traditional schematic view of a 555 where you have the signals kind of going around in a circle, so that makes getting a neat layout a bit trickier. But for me, like, the bigger focus here was making sure it was the correct footprint for the board. So comme ci, comme ça. One thing I did add in this design, and you can probably see it on the board, is a switch. That's the switch right here. I really like those little surface mount switches. I'll link it down in the description, because also this footprint from SparkFun is perfect for it. And I'm going to upload all these files in case anyone's interested. I don't know if anyone can really benefit from them, but even if someone isn't going to benefit from it necessarily, I like putting it out there, because you never know, like, just looking at it might help someone kind of figure stuff out. But anyway, let me go to the board. So I definitely used fewer vias. That was the other thing with the other design. There were a lot of vias. And already from this design, like, there's improvements I would make. Like, I would make the traces a lot thicker, especially for the ground traces. But I definitely tried to be more thoughtful with my layout here, rather than going, well, I'm going here, might as well put a via so I can cross under, and another via so I can go. So, because this was the first time I was also doing a double-sided board, so that concept was kind of new to me, and I don't know the theory of board design and, like, your best practices and everything like that. So, yeah, this is definitely an amateur project, but at the end of the day, the LEDs are lighting up. And that's all I wanted. I just wanted a simple 555 timer circuit that was kind of unique, because we have the LEDs kind of going asynchronously. I like that. And I just kind of wanted to experiment. And for my first, like, real, like, circuit design that didn't involve a microcontroller and involved a PCB, I'm really happy with it. I really am. I mean, there's so many things that could be improved, but I'm into it. The other thing I did with this board, curved traces. How gorgeous are those? That's going to be, like, my new thing, I think, because they just look so pretty. And with kind of the vibe I'm going with the board too, like, when they show up, they kind of look like subway tracks, which I'm really into. It kind of gets that kind of city vibe going. But yeah, this concludes Blitz Badge City. I'm not going to sell them. I might do a Rev 3 to try to, like, really tone it up a bit, and maybe in the next kind of event thing I go to, maybe I'll have a couple and then like I'll give them out. But it was mainly experiment, and it was definitely just a learning process for me, and I'm pretty happy with it. If nothing else, this made me more comfortable with PCB design in general, which is cool. And I can actually show you a preview of an upcoming project. So Eagle actually crashed when I tried to switch projects, but here's just a preview. You can see I figured out the art thing, and there will of course be a video and all sorts of things on this little guy. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. If you liked it, toss me a thumbs up. Leave any questions or comments down below. Let me know if you're trying out badge design, PCB design, all that jazz. Consider subscribing for more content like this, and to see what this is. Ooh. Thank you for watching.